want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. When I type your name 100 times already, I say it in my head, but I don't say it out loud. Okay.
Okay.
Achioyamen.
Achioyamen with a K on it.
Oh, with K, not Ch. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Achioyamen. Okay. Thank you.
That's from somebody from the Netherlands that mentioned it. Achioyamen is actually
okay. Achioyamen. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. You are a doctor from
Nigeria.
From Nigeria. Okay, good. But you and your wife have co-founded a wonderful, beautiful charity that you will tell us about. That how we got together was one of our board members is actually one of your board members, I found out. And I told her I want our exhibitions of our art shows to benefit other charities, and yours was the first that came to her mind.
Okay.
So we connected, and you were so gracious. You welcomed me with open arms, and we've been working for the Child Factor International Art Exhibition. Right, we're hoping to do more, to sell more, because part of those proceeds will go toward your charity.
No, thank you very much.
So this is another reason why I wanted us to do this interview. So folks would know more about you, about the charity that you founded. I know that you're living also in the UK, and you travel back and forth from the different countries in Africa that you're working with. And I know there's more than one. Again, you can tell us more about that.
Okay, thank
you.
I
just wanted to thank you from me and all the artists that are in the exhibition, and also in our other exhibitions. We have one going on now called Femme Champions, together with Child Factor. And I know your work involves girls and women, young boys too, but since we're doing, we're focusing on the women and girls, I again just want to thank you for the work that you're doing to help them in the different communities. Tell us, what have you seen and experienced in your young life that promoted you to co-found this major charity in the UK? Now, tell us about the charity, but also what prompted you to do this?
Okay. First of all, I want to say a big thank you for actually, agreeing to actually do this wonderful exhibition, and also trying to promote the work that we do in Precious Gems, because you had the option to pick any charity of your choice in the US or Africa, but you eventually chose Precious Gems. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you for the support, and to all the artists, I want to say a big thank you for that. Now, back to the question, what really inspired us? I would say it's a story of, because, when you grow up, you experience a lot of things, but then there are certain things that, stay in your mind. Like I grew up in Nigeria because I was born in Nigeria, and I literally witnessed, challenges, a lot of different, challenges as you grow up. But somebody really inspired me, and that's my mom, because, she's resilient, and although she didn't go to have the typical education, but she made sure that we have education. She used to inspire and say, try to be like that person because they went to school and all that. Despite I never knew she was not that educated, because she used to teach me how to write and everything. Because when I was now in primary 6, and I realized that she didn't even go to that point,
Right.
But it was inspiring how she was able to drive us to that point. So, and that's kind of like, set a foundation for me in terms of the role of women, in shaping the society, and from there, I kept telling my mom, I said, look, when I grow up, I'm going to do something to make you proud, stuff like that.
Yes.
That only your mother believes you, only your mom will believe you. Every other person seems not to believe you, only your mom. And that's why you need to talk to her that way,
Right.
And after that, so when I came over to England, it was not all that was advertised as it would be, you know. So I came over and I experienced a lot of challenges, a real lot of challenges. And they say destiny or fate will happen. In the process, I got to meet my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Then she was not my wife then. But,
now, was this in school or what?
Oh, no. It's
Why
not in school. Here in England. So we actually met in England.
Right, I know, but did you go to England because of school, or
why
did you go?
Obviously, yeah, we go to school, although I already have some family members here, but primary school first of all. But
sure.
In the process, I went through a lot of challenge here to even try to, you know, there's so many. Then in the process, I got to meet my wife. Mm-hmm. Like I said, then she was not my wife then.
Right.
And I never knew that it was possible to meet a woman who would tell you and say, you know what do you want to achieve in life? You know what, I'm going to be with you. You know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, and she's from Rwanda.
Okay.
You know, and you know the Rwandan story and everything and the whole trauma that was part of the whole thing. Yeah. And she came over here because of that trauma and all that. And in that process too, she had seen a lot in life. You understand? So where she met me, she didn't meet me in your typical, like, the guy is the one that is doing, no, it was the opposite. Right. She was literally the one that met me in a sorry state. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she was able to look at me and say, you know what? All you have is vision and passion and all that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to see where I'm going to support you with my experience. Because it was later I got to understand that because of what she has been through, she had a kind of a fighting spirit to want to fight for people, she doesn't want to hear somebody is in need or somebody is going through challenge. She doesn't want to hear that. She wants to give everything. So I also got that, you know, so in a way we kind of like, we synchronized or we tend to relate. So it was from those experiences over a while after that was when we now got to the point and said, okay, what can we really do? Because we both now realized that we were not the type of people that wanted things to be done for us, but we wanted to see what we can do. So we kind of harmonized that way. So that was when we now said, okay, the best way we can help. We realized a lot of people within our community had the same problem, the same challenge. So what can we do? So that was why there was one day she went to the shop. She met somebody and said, there's a charity they told me to come and do something for. I like those things they are doing. So she went, you know, and that was when she got to learn the rudimentary of charity work, you know, being an NGO and all that. So she comes home and tells me everything that is going on. So from there, that was when we now said, you know what, let's use what we're learning here to help people from the community. And that was how Precious Gem was born, 2013.
Wow,
you know?
wow.
So it was more like two people who came from the background of challenging background, but they also have a heart to say, let us give back. Let us do something about it. Let's not complain. Let's do something about it.
Right, right.
So that was what led to the setting up of Precious Gems.
Wow.
2013. And from there, we started talking to friends who agreed to listen to us. You understand what I'm saying? Then from there, we were able to introduce, so someone introduced us to somebody who was a minister in the Methodist Church. So she got to come in and say, oh yeah, we like the vision. Let's see what we can do. She introduced us to the superintendent of the Methodist Church in Bolton here. Now, he's not an African guy. He's an English guy, but was a superintendent. So he sat me down in the sitting room and said, okay, tell me everything. So I was yapping about, telling him all the energy and everything, what we need to do to help humanity, save the world, all the stuff. So he now simply said, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? I said, in 5 years' time, we want to be able to do something globally. We want to be able to leave a legacy. So what are you looking for? What do you want? I say, it's legacy. We want to make an impact. We want people to be able to have meaning to their life. So from there, I say, you know what? I'm going to be your Paronia patron. I'm going to use every resources we have to support you guys. That's how we started our first projects.
Wow.
So it kept going on like that. And 2013 till now, we'll say the rest is history, but it's not really history because history is very important.
Right.
In terms of what we do. So that's how we arrived at where we are today.
Okay.
And with all the support, yeah.
So I have a sort of like a line from your website that I took, and I want to repeat it. It said, Project Africa, precious gems supporting women and girls to unveil, utilize, and fulfill their potential so that they can better meet their needs, develop themselves and their community. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So I just wanted to put that out there as your mission. Go ahead.
Another point I wanted to add to that. The background behind that was, we wanted to know, each thing you want to do in life must run on a principle. You understand what I'm saying? Because law of gravity, that's a principle and all that. So for us, we wanted a principle, and we now discovered so that's why we now got to realize the asset-based community development principle. You understand? Whereby we look at the community, that principle looks at the community from the perspective of the talents, the gifts that they have, what they bring to the table. So you look at a young lady, for example, you understand? You can look at the young lady as somebody with a criminal record, for example, a single mom, for example, with issues with drugs. That is one way the community can look at the person with issues with police. That's her profile. But that is what we call the needs approach. But there's another approach. That same lady could bake a cake, could bake cake. That same lady could organize events. So we have two options. Either we look at that lady as somebody with a criminal record and negative past, or somebody who can bake cake and organize something from the community. We choose to go to that place because we know that despite she has those records, you understand what I'm saying? But we can actually say, can you bake for us for somebody's birthday? And she does that. Can you help us to organize? Because you see, we are picking the assets on one wish. And if you build on the asset, we build from the perspective of strengths rather than the negatives. Right. Because nobody benefits from negative. Right. So it was on that principle when I say that, when we walk and we do things within community, we help them to unveil. The word unveil does not mean we create for them. No, They already have it inside there. It's already in there. Yeah. You understand? But because they never knew what they had, so they are in the right environment where they could actually know, I can do this. Right. Although the society said I'm a drug addict, but actually I could bake. Right. And people like my cake. Right. So that's the world. So that's the whole, we unveil. And from there, we help to identify those things. Then we help to mobilize. So first of all, you unveil, you identify what they can do. Then you help them connect it to the right people. So she could bake. You connect her to Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Jane down the street. She could bake for them. So they know her as the baker. Right. Not the drummer. So that's the connection we do. And with that, we realize that it kind of helped to build people's confidence. Sure. And the morale. Yeah. And it builds their morale. And that has been the reason why we tend to see that when we do projects or do stuff, people tend to just take it off on their own because it's their thing. It's their space. Yeah. Yeah. So that's brilliant, brilliant. That's very brilliant because really you're right. It comes from them. They already have that ability, but the circumstance that they may find themselves in, which is, I would say, the majority of social systems now, is to just kind of push down your personal power and your personal talents so that you can be a workhorse for their job or whatever. That's fine. You need to earn that living, but it's good that you're bringing to the community that's much needed a way for them to, as you said, unveil and utilize and strengthen and sort of validate themselves as a human being, not just a name called of this or of that.
You know, yeah, they may have an addiction, but that's not who they are. They're a spirit. So yes, so that's brilliant how you're doing it. So that's great. How many years have you been doing this now? You told me before. When did you?
It's going to be about 8 years or 7 years if I'm right with my maths.
Wow,
Right
wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Knit and Fit project.
Okay,
how did that come?
Oh, well, it started from the first conversation we had. Like, if you look at the principle we use the asset-based model.
Right.
You know? So what happened was that our first community meeting we had was, okay, what do we want to do within the community? But one thing is that we want to look at drive, because one thing is sustainability. Because we know we don't have the funds, you know, setting up something, but we know that if people love what they do, they tend to continue anyway.
Right.
Now, they don't need the professionals to come in, because like you mentioned earlier, professionals is okay, but they tend to bring in their jobs to secure their jobs, and the other people becomes more like the tools they use to get their jobs.
Right.
You understand? So we're not okay, fine. So we had a conversation and said, okay, what are you passionate about? So don't forget that the first story we said, I said, so we had a minister who said, we'll give you a space. Do you want a space? Our church will give you a space, a venue. Oh, that was great. The next thing, we had people around who were able to go around the community. Now, when we started from a pure English community. When we say English community, that means more of a white. You understand? So there was not really an African. It was really, really pure on that end. And so we had our first conversation, and they were just talking about what can we do within the community. And that was when I said, from there, I said, what are the things that you like doing? What are you passionate about that you can do on your own, just enjoy? And they all said that we love knitting, because most of them love knitting for their grandkids anyway.
Oh, yes.
We said, okay, fine. If that's the case, this is what you're passionate about and you love what you do, you know. Now, can you help us now knit the same thing you're knitting right now? Help us to knit for kids, you know, who don't have parents, who don't have homes, who are homeless, you know, kids who don't have a family, you know. I said, oh, beautiful. If we could knit for our grandkids, we could knit for them. That would be beautiful. So in that way, but don't forget that, you know, in the statistics and all that, most of the people on the plus 50s and above, one of the challenge they have is depression, because due to loneliness, because that's one of the challenge we have here in Europe. You know, in Europe, everybody tends to be on your own little, you know, huts here and there. But in Africa, it's a bit different, because someone can just knock on your door and say, hello, hi, how are you? No, we don't have it here. People tend to be isolated, especially the elderly people. And isolation leads to loneliness, loneliness leads to depression. The whole thing goes like that. So in that case, okay, fine. You like knitting for your grandkids. What about if you come together as friends, knit together, and this time we are helping those other young kids. Then they were based in London then. So we're knitting in Bolton, sending them to London. Mm-hmm. So they were so happy about it, because at least they know they're doing something outside their routine.
Yeah.
One. Number two, they came together and then they start having new network of friends they never knew they could have. So that sorts out the issue around loneliness, you know. So they had new networks of friends. Now, so when I say, okay, now it comes to financing. How do we get the initial funding for stuff like that? Because obviously we have money. So my wife didn't have money and all that. Then I said, don't worry about that. So we put in a grant fund, a small bid for the charity organization. I mean, the organization that controls charity. While we're looking for that, the women said, you know what? We have our crochet needles, we have our knitting needles. We could bring this stuff and we can do it anyway. So already, because you already see that because of the passion they have, and because we are utilizing their skills and mobilizing them together, they now have a direction of who they want to focus on and be of benefit to. It kind of so they were mobilized. So they started. So we got initial funding, a small fund anyway, to support them. And they started doing stuff. But that fund was supposed to last for about 6 weeks. So after the whole 6 weeks, because then guess what? We had about 50 women were showing up every Thursday.
Wow.
50, you know, every Thursday. And most of these women, the youngest among them was in their 50s, late 50s. They were showing up every Thursday. So we gave them hot meals, you understand? So when they come in, so they have hot meals and they relate to each other, have a laugh. And so after that 6 weeks, we thought that would be the end because there is no way to get money anymore again. We now told them, see, we don't have money to support. They said, don't worry about that. We'll make our own donations. We love our circle here. We love what we're doing. We feel that we are doing something. Now, that was 2013. We're in 2021.
Yeah.
Even after COVID, they're still together.
Very good.
So you see the drive, the energy.
Yes.
Because we worked based on what they cared about.
Wow.
You understand? So that's being the song. So that was when the knit and natter. Now it's called knit and natter because nattering is when, when we don't come together. You know what happens?
Yeah,
okay, you know what happens when girls come together. They
yeah. Usually talking about guys. And guys usually talk about girls. So.
No, guys don't natter. Guys naturally just talk about
cars
and other things.
Yeah.
Cars and girls, maybe.
Okay. I told you. Okay.
So knitting and nattering started that way.
Wow.
And so from there, another group started. That was when they now said, the younger group, the much younger group started after about some few years. That was when they now said, we also like to knit, but we want to do a bit of an exercise to it. So that was when the knitting and the knit and the fit came together. So they do part knitting. So maybe they have about 2-hour session now. They have a 1-hour knitting session, then 1 hour all soft from Zumba to yoga and all this other stuff. So it's combined. Good. So we have a knit and natter, we have a knit and fit. So they're all different programs going together. Wow.
So these programs, where now I know you were started in Manchester and but you've also taken this to Zambia.
No, what we have right now in Africa. Don't forget that 2 of us came from Africa, so naturally you always have this, this affinity.
Sure.
Back home.
Right.
Back home affinity one, but also you see people who come from back home over here. So in a way, you don't lose base. So back home, we face a different kind of challenge back home. Do you understand? Because there we don't have the issue of loneliness because, like I said, the community is there.
Right.
So it's a different. Over there, back home is more around the area of poverty, economics. So those are the big problems we have. So when I say, okay, what can we do, back home to support our people using their own assets, what they care about? And so we look at, and don't forget that we do things around women and girls.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the SDG goals from goal 1, goal 2, goal 3 to goal 5, and all of them, it's all around poverty, eradicating poverty and all that. But who are the biggest at risk? Who's the biggest at risk? The most at risk person right now is the woman. Yeah. Because the woman is literally the one bearing the weight of the society. Mm-hmm. People think it's the men, but in reality it's the woman, it's the women that's actually carrying the weight of society. Mm-hmm. And most of them don't get paid for what they're doing. Now, if we say that there is challenge in Africa, you understand what I'm saying? Who's the worst hit? Still the women. Mm-hmm. So what do we do now to be able to do that? We may not be looking at knitting in Africa because over here in Europe, most of those people are comfortable anyway. It's just loneliness. Over there is hunger and poverty. So what do? We have to look at, okay, what skills do they care about? Most of them, they like to do petty farming or get skills. So we'll focus on economics. So it's more of economic empowerment in Africa. Okay. So we grow into having things like supporting them with farms. So like in Rwanda, for example, we realized that, although, they're resisting about equality of women, but if you drill deep, you still realize that at the end of the day, the men have access more to land control and all that. And so what about if we can provide a space for these women, let them form like a collective society, like a cooperative. You understand what I'm saying? We will give them the land. Precious Gems will provide the land for them, provide the seeds for them. You understand what I'm saying? At least cuts down the stress.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? All those bottlenecks that they will face cut it down from them. Then if we're providing all those things for them, then they can collect themselves and do the planting. And when they raise their vegetables and all that, they can sell it. Just give us less than 20% so that we can recoup our seed money back. The rest, use that as a capital to invest in your business that you want. So we started that process there, and it has been great. And secondly, so that's the farming bit. But we also work in Rwanda right now with a group of nuns, you know, the Catholic nuns.
Yeah.
So they have like a project where they have a school called TVET, like a TVET school, whereby they give them skills and all that. So we support those girls there too. You understand what I'm saying? To support them so that they can have some small capital to start their own. So after training, we can see how we can, you know, transit them into their own business. Now that's for Rwanda, but we are replicating the same thing in different. So in Zimbabwe, the same thing. In Ghana, for example, we look at, now the Ghanaians is very interesting, that which might be of interest to you.
Okay.
As an artist, have you been to Ghana before?
No, I haven't been to any of the African countries yet. I want to. I was already thinking. I'm like, oh my God, we could do art classes for the girls and the guys too. Yeah.
Now the Ghanaian end of things is quite interesting because we have a project on the northern region of Ghana. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of tourists go there anyway. So what they do, these ladies, they have this basket thing so they can weave and do artwork and all that. But they're in the village. So what we do for them, we train the ladies. So we give them a teacher to train them how to do the weaving and basket making so that they can make hats and shoes and bags for the tourists that come in. So we support them with the training, and we also support them with small startup funds. So they can have their own little enterprise, you know? So that's what we support them with, so that they can be able to support their families.
Okay.
So that's what we've been doing in Ghana. And well, when this stuff is finished, I'm going to share some of their beautiful works with you on the stuff that they've been doing, which is really beautiful works.
Wonderful. Wow. So, so your efforts are sustained in general by who? Is it the participants? It doesn't sound like it, at least not in the African countries. But how are you? So you've been around quite some time now, almost 8 years.
Yeah.
How are you sustaining your efforts? Are you able to get enough grant money or
most of the things?
Yeah.
In a lot of the funding we do, especially in the African end, are more very self-funded.
Oh, okay.
Very self-funded because of, like I said, there's a passion. We want to make a difference. Really.
Right.
So at this stage right now, like for example, the one we want to develop a model right now of sustainability. That's what we are aiming towards. So like, for example, now in Rwanda right now, the reason why we have those other parts is that when they generate their own income, they can sustain themselves.
Okay.
So they can sustain their own projects. So, but at the moment right now, most of the financial bit of it to trigger some of those things come from us.
Right. Okay.
We support them from pockets. That's why like when you come in now and say you want to, like, for example, your donations or things from the art will make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
You know, in those lives, because most of them are like, you know, not self-funded. We literally give money.
Right.
For that to trigger those things.
Right. And
now in the long term, the long term is we can get to a point now whereby we have a revolving kind of fund whereby that capital remains. So we can have a kind of like a capital so that once they put a percentage back to the central pot, then we can use from there to support another woman.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But before we perfect that model, at the moment, a lot of the support still come from us.
Okay.
Yeah. But in terms of the passion and the skill and all that and supporting, they are the ones that are actually driving that bit.
Okay. So what are your biggest challenges right now? Like the number one challenge you're experiencing?
Number one challenge we're experiencing, let's say in the African end of things, obviously is finance.
Okay. Okay.
Money.
Right.
Money. That's number one.
Right.
the money is number one, but number two, another challenge that we're looking at, it's the area of capacity development, because we can't really go far without them having the right intellectual capacity to do what they need to do.
Okay.
So that's why we need people who want to train them and support them in what they do.
Okay.
If you get what I mean. So that's a challenge. So that's why we are always very happy when we have people who help us to build capacity. So like, for example, we are doing something now with Dr. Eunice Thomas right now in Africa. So we have a project right now in Nigeria whereby we are helping to train some young people in the area of leadership.
Okay.
You understand? And she's been helping us heavily through her organization to train these doctors. I mean, these young students. And we hope to replicate the same thing in different parts. So apart from finance, because you may have all the finance in the world, but you don't have capacity and all that, then, I mean, it's just going around, it's just going down the drain.
Right.
Capacity is a big issue. Supporting capacity, you know, of the people. So that is another one we're looking at. Then the next thing that I would say is a challenge for us is, you know, trying to look at the already existing cultural norms in those places. You understand? So it takes a while for people to get to understand what we're trying to do. Because once they see that you're coming from abroad, they just think you're a cash machine.
Right. Okay.
They just think you're an ATM.
Yeah.
So they're just like, oh, bring it, give it, you know.
Yeah.
So how do you maneuver around that place so that they can actually see that actually it's them that can actually lead on this thing?
Right.
For sustainability. So although that still requires capacity training and all that, but that's still a challenge too, so that they stop seeing you like a cash machine, that they can actually be the one to drive this thing. So
now, do you have many volunteers?
Wow. Based on our model, we do have a number of volunteers, but it depends on the areas you're looking at in terms of the volunteers.
Okay.
You know, like here in England alone, we have up to about 200.
Okay. Wow.
You understand? Then in Africa, that's where we will need because we work with a lot of partners and all that. Yeah, we do have quite a number of volunteers, but believe me, we need more.
Okay.
We need more to be able to penetrate the communities, to be able to, you know, do the follow-ups. You get what I mean? So that's where we really, you know, need manpower, you know, in terms of that. Though we have,
Cool.
And if you know anybody and all that who can support us with stuff like that,
yes.
Beautiful, you know, beautiful.
Yes. Okay, and now I want to cover some art. Now, how do you consider art and artists in regards to helping humanity in general?
In general?
In general. I mean, you know, but what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
For me, the artists.
And
you know,
let me ask people to mute themselves here.
Okay, fine.
Okay, great. I got it. Okay.
If I want to see where the role of the artist, you know, in helping humanity, I think I'll have to go back to distance past so that we can understand the gravity of what we are talking about. Today, if you mention who are the movers and shakers of society today, you will mention Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and all that because of the technology space that they are managing. I'm sure even this is technology. But how many artists are we looking at right now? We tend to think that it's all about a technology thing. That's when you are the in thing. Now let's go back to when I mention Egypt, what goes through your mind? The pyramids, Sphinx. Those are the things that go through your mind. But till today, engineers are still struggling to understand the mechanism of making this technology. They don't have it. Because if they have it, they will replicate it everywhere.
Right.
How do they move those huge boulders, you know? When we don't even have the right machines today to move those stuff. But those guys over there that we assume were wearing animal skins, whatever, did that. and with precision in line with the stars. Figure what I mean?
Yeah.
And we are struggling to do that now. You see, we struggle to do that. But guess what? We can understand what the Egyptians did, what they ate, how they danced, how they dressed. Why? Because somebody bothered to draw one hieroglyphic somewhere.
Yeah.
We could relate to that because an artist was able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how people were able to hunt, but somebody cared enough to draw something in a cave somewhere and saw how people use,
yeah,
to hunt, because somebody decided to do that. It's helping us today to understand what we did at that time.
Yeah.
But guess what? I would blame artists for us not understanding how those massive boulders were raised, because there was no artist who was able to sit down and help us to capture how they designed those pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
So do you understand what I'm trying to say? The role of the artist right now, because if you look at the letter, my support letter for the Art Impact,
yeah.
if you look at the stuff I'm looking at right now,
yeah.
I told you that the artist plays a role in terms of the message in the bottle.
Yeah.
So right now we understand how the Egyptians lived because the artists were focused to capture that part. But we don't understand how they designed the pyramids because the artist was not involved in also capturing that part.
Right.
So there's a gap.
Yeah.
And now we are also in a risk point now. We are also in an at-risk moment right now because a few days ago, Mark Zuckerberg and his team took off Facebook and everything. We don't know what happened. Suddenly, everybody became blind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine if we depend so much on the technology. Who can say maybe that was what was going on there? That's why they had all the technologies then. But nobody was able to capture the hard ones. And that's where you come in. That's where the artists come in. And that's their role. They are the ones that help capture the right information. And they are also responsible for transferring that information to a distant generation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's a huge responsibility. Mm-hmm. And it's time that, so that's very important. Till today, we look at the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
We still study the Mona Lisa till today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at the artists of those days, they're scientists, but we can study their work today because of the arts they left behind. Mm-hmm. Not really, not the technology, but the arts they were able to transfer. So that is why, if you ask me, what comes through my mind is that the artist has just beyond designing aesthetics.
Right.
If you look at what the microchip, the real microchip is your artwork.
Right.
That's the microchip, because that's what you're going to take to the next generation. Right. They can study and unveil. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's my little.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I just wonder what other disciplines, how they look at artists, how they look at artists and what responsibility they think. So thank you for clearing that up for me when it comes to, on your end, what responsibilities artists have. So that's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I want to go to your family life. Now, I know that you talked about the work that you do. You don't go to a hospital and work on people. You go to the community and work on the larger body of community. Yeah. So how does, and I know your wife is also a co-founder of Precious Gems. Yeah. Do you say that impacted your family life well, or maybe strained? Like some, you hear some couples, the husband has to go off and travel a lot and leaves the wife home and this and that. Tell us, just to get a little personal, how is it for you as a man and your wife as a woman, you both working together with the same passions? Tell us a little bit about that. Let us peek inside.
Okay, very interesting. First of all, I would like to say that I'm on this conversation right now because she tells me to do it.
Yeah.
So you know who the boss is then.
Yes, yes. I love it. I love it.
So I would say for us, we are connected because of our past. Now, she's coming from the past of a very traumatic past from what happened in Rwanda. You understand? And she came over here and all that. I'm coming from the same, almost something similar to, you know, and I think we connected in that space. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not in space of we're both traumatized people, but actually in the space of what can we do about this?
Okay.
And how can we make a difference?
Okay. So
like I said, don't mention somebody vulnerability to my wife, for example. She'll want to pick up the swords and
right.
She's that kind of person. So she cares,
right.
like genuinely cares and all that. So that's the space that we operate on. So that is why, like you asked earlier and say, okay, how do you finance? Most of the finance we do in Africa come from our personal pockets.
Right, right.
You understand what I'm saying? So because of that, we could say, okay, we want to go for shopping. Let's draw the budget this way, but don't forget that we're putting something in Tanzania. Okay, fine. You know what? Draw the budget this way so that we can do. So it's that kind of level. There's that
cooperation.
There's that cooperation because it's a space she operates in. It's a space I operate in. So most of these things, I think the strain we have most of the time really is how to do that particular thing because she's a perfectionist. Then I'm of the, you know what, just give me 2 or 3, I'll be okay. Just go away. Then survive the rest on the way. That kind of person. But she's the one I want to, make sure the list is ready.
Right.
So that's how we complement, actually. In that way, we complement because she kind of got my back on that part because she knows I'm going to go and just bulldoze everything and all that. Then she comes to pick up the pieces, actually. So I think I'll give you an idea.
How long have you guys been married now? How many years?
We've been together for about 10 years or 11 years now.
Okay, very good. And what advice would you give young couples today? Married or thinking about marriage, or because the divorce rate is so high. So besides not getting married in the first place, what kind of advice would you give to couples who care about each other and want to stay together? What would you say? The reason I'm bringing this up again is because the work that you're doing is helping so many lives, right? Yeah. So I hope that you guys stay together. It sounds like you're gonna. So what advice would you give to young couples or even older couples who might be struggling?
Well, I'll say, first of all, for the younger couples, I don't think I have a right to say I'm young. I mean, I'm older couple because you don't look at it. But
when I say younger, I mean that's not been together with one person for that long.
For me, it's 2 things. I'll say the first connection is whatever brings you guys together. Let it be something outside both of you. That means let it be something that is not physical between both of you.
Right.
If you get what I mean, because it's easy. Oh, she's so pretty. Oh, she's so hot. Oh, he looks this. Those are physical stuff.
Right.
Well, you know very well after 2 months, I mean, you can't be bothered about that stuff. So if it's the physical that is bringing both of you together, you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Pretty soon you will go past that level.
Sure.
Then you start wondering why are we here? Why are we here? But if the reason why you're together is because you both have kind of like a synchronized mission.
Yeah.
Because a time will come where you're going to wonder why you are together.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You're going to wonder if you made a meet. I mean, several times she tells me, how did I get to know you? As in, why, that kind of stuff.
Right.
While you're having all those arguments, within the 3 minutes, but Rwanda, yeah. And so back to Rwanda. So this thing, we need to do this about Rwanda. But in that point, because we are working together, we tend to not forget, later we'll come back again. So you see, I could see, because in any marriage, you could see those peak and troughs. But I could realize that majority of the time, because we're doing the same, we're both out doing something outside our individual self, but both of us really care about That's what's really, you get what I mean? It's a drive.
Yeah.
So because I know that she's the CEO, I need to go through her for funding.
Right.
I need to be at my best.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Good. Yes.
So I think that's the point, really, in terms of it's nice to be physical, but looking at the physical thing, it will fade eventually. It will fade out eventually. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you have a mission together and you share it. So I think young people should look out and say, where do they synchronize in terms of mission? Where are you going?
Right. They have to know that about themselves first too, right?
First, before they now, because if you don't know about yourself, then you can't locate the other person anyway.
That's
you can't synchronize. You understand?
That's right.
So I think that's the point. And the older people can relate to when I say the physical end tend to so what keeps you right now? Some of them say, oh, we keep it because of the kids. Now that's a joint mission, but that's a temporary mission.
Right. Because the
kids
kids
are going to grow up and go to college.
Yeah.
So, but it has to be a life mission to keep.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
Thank you.
I don't know if I've answered the question properly.
Yes, you did.
I know.
No, that's a good amount for those who will listen, right? And those who can hear. Because I am recording this, so I'm gonna definitely even extrapolate this and have a little video. Hey, message to your young couples, right? So, but going in that spiritual side, knowing yourself. Now we know that especially because of the pandemic, the suicides by children are extremely high. The potential for children is very high. For teenage, it's always been high, but it's growing. And the pandemic, because of the isolation and not being able to do the social things, it depresses the children and it makes them crazy, right? So what would you say to young people that may help them to triumph over this? Now, you may have already answered it, but you tell me, what would you say to those who are struggling?
And for me, it's, there is a saying that is the person that wears the shoe that know where it hurts, and there is no one size fits all because each person have a unique challenge they are facing. I too have my own fair share of things like that. There are times where the only reason why I didn't commit suicide, for example, is because I know I was told in the Bible, those when I was a child, that if you commit suicide, you're going to go to hell. That's the reason that stopped me. If not, I would have practiced. I could have, done it. You understand? So I will not say that it's something that have not been considered, but there was something that really helped me out, and that was this. I got to learn something that when you look at, when you walk into a room or you walk the streets, when somebody looks at you, in your mind, what do you think? You think the person is saying that your hair is not well done, this is not done. They're seeing all the negatives in you. They're seeing, you get what I mean? They feel they're seeing the things that are not right about you because you know what's not right. You know what's not the right place. That's why they're looking at you. But in reality, when somebody looks at you on the street, he says, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, this person looks confident. See, that person is seeing the things they don't have that you have. So people tend to look at others with the eyes of positivity. They tend to look at others with the eyes of what they don't have that you seem to have. So in that case, if somebody looks at me, actually, the person is seeing the good in me. Because if I look at that person, I'm seeing the good in that person. And that's why I want to be like him. The first place. So in that case, if we reverse it, the truth is that when people look at us, they see the great in us. Because we are actually great. And that helped me a lot. Because when you do things, most of the people feel depressed and all that because of expectation. and they feel that they are not meeting up with the expectation from the society or from their peers. If you get what I mean. They wonder, why are they bullying? Why are they bullying me? Yeah, they are bullying you because you seem to have something better than they have. They see that in you. So the moment I now get to know that I have something, when people look at me, it's because I have something. That is why it can inspire inspiration on them, or it can inspire jealousy from them, which is manifested in the way they treat me. Either they clap for me or they attack me. So they're not attacking me because I'm a nobody. They're attacking me because I have something they don't have.
Right.
So why should I go and, you know what I mean? It's not giving you a kind of sense of confidence. So you know what? I'll keep pushing because this person is attacking me because I'm kind of better than him anyway.
Yeah.
And he's seeing it. He's seeing it. I may not see it, but now I'm beginning to know that at least I have something to offer. That is why they even got my attention in the first place.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So that's my capture, because I could talk about but at least from my own, so I could just look at myself, because as you're asking that question, I just have to look inwards and say, look at myself. Yeah. This is what pulled me through.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm having these questions is because as an artist, I believe we paint about what's, for me at least, the successful artists, they paint what's inside, not so much what's outside. So even an artist who is reporting on the current situations in culture, it's still through their own heart and their own interpretation of what it is. So, but I believe artists, they are, what's that word? They're open enough to get that kind of information, and then as an artist you report it back, right? Through you as a spirit. So I worry about the artists, the young people, especially because they may not know the way of how to be happy, how to, you know, and many of the artists use art as a therapy, right? To help them manage the negative emotions that they may be having. So even what you just said about, okay, know that you have something that somebody else is jealous about, that may not even occur to them in the moment. But I want to ask this question about your philosophy. There are many cynics out there who say there's no hope for mankind. They feel like, you know, that's probably why the atom bomb still exists. We just need to blow each other up, you know. And I think some of the bad things that are happening today, like the mass shootings in school by young kids, all of this, it's like they just want to destroy themselves, but before they do that, they'll destroy everybody else. So it's a very dire situation. And because you're in the community with the young girls, with the children, with the young boys, right? What is your philosophy? What do you say? I don't think you say there's no hope for mankind, but what do you say? What's your philosophy about this world?
Okay. That got me thinking, because
but I mean, it's something, it's something that's, or I already know, you know, but it's how to say
I know,
right?
but you know,
I already know, you know.
There's a reality of what you're saying. There's a real life to this thing.
Yeah.
I think the best way I can answer what's my philosophy is to first of all understand that people are human. At the end of the day, we are humans. And humans are designed for communication. And so the challenge we are having today in society it's not the issue of the human, it's the issue of information and the kind of information that is put out there, especially maybe the media. Mm-hmm. Because somebody tells me that somebody who wears a veil and all that because of his religion, he happens to be a terrorist. But if you have a chat with that same person, you're like, hold on a bit. This is different from what I was told from my television.
Yeah.
This person cares about me. This person cares about Man United like I care about Man United. This person has feelings like me. So, meaning that this person is a human being like me. And so, if I love this person like the way I want to be loved, if I give out to this person, because this person wants to give out to, this person also has his own impression about me, because not because of what he thinks, but because something has also told him about me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if we can have a conversation, just a conversation, it will make a lot of difference. Mm-hmm. Instead of us being told or being given prepared information that we don't know about, mm-hmm. It will be better we have that conversation. Just open your door, walk out of your house, walk up to the next person on the street and say, hello, you look pretty today. You'll be amazed the magic it will do.
Right.
They say there are barriers in communication. There are no barriers. The barriers is us. I am the barrier. Mm-hmm. You understand? I am as much barrier I want to be to the next person, really. Because the next person sitting close to me in a function is wondering, oh, he looks cute. Oh, he's this. Then me, I'm saying, oh, he's this. Come on, just talk.
Yeah.
Just talk. So my philosophy is, we are human beings. The same feelings I have, the next person have the feeling. Mm. That is why the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. Meaning that you have to look inward first, because the password to the heart of the next person is in you already. Just look at you. What do you like? Mm-hmm. How would you like to be treated? That's how the person wants to be treated anyway.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to open new doors that seem not to exist. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So that is how I relate to people. I relate to people based on, let's have a conversation.
Right. Not on propaganda.
Not on what somebody is saying.
Right.
And whatever somebody is saying, it ties to their own personal profits or their own beliefs.
Right.
But if you and I have that conversation, we could create something.
Right.
And we can make a difference in the world. If not, now here is a perfect example. Here is somebody who made up his mind or made up her mind that she wants to jump over the bridge and commit suicide. How do you rescue them? Do you catch them? Or it's always a conversation. Mm-hmm. It's always a conversation. There's always one person, either a police officer or somebody, and say, let's have a chat. From a chat, then the person gets confused. Okay, fine, no worries. There's still hope anyway. And the person is safe from committing suicide. Mm-hmm. A conversation. Mm-hmm. That's all we need. A conversation. Not reciprocating, not replicating propaganda.
Right.
That's my policy. That's my philosophy. Have a conversation. Have a laugh. Have a talk.
Right. Thank you. And the last question we're almost done. This is winding up. And you probably, this is the trickiest question.
Okay.
And I'm going to read it the way I wrote it to you. So I won't change it any. The spiritual side, I have it. Dr. Oboh, I say Dr. Oboh. I know Oboh is your first name.
Yeah, I like that.
We know your name. We know your profession. We know some of your history. But besides all of that, who are you? Who are you? You might have answered it already, but tell us.
I'll say,
wrapping up.
For me, I see myself as like someone who's your destiny Uber driver.
What? Destiny.
Your destiny Uber driver. You know your Uber driver.
Uber.
You see, when I get turned on when I listen to people, you know, and I want to know, where do you want to be? And when I hear that, something triggers in me. I want to make sure that I take you to as much as you can.
Okay.
That's what gives me the kick. You understand?
Got it.
That is why although I studied medicine to go into clinicals, but to me, the clinical end was too boring because it didn't give me time to do that. That's why I went into the community part of medicine,
Right.
because I could hear people. When I listen to you, I know where you want to go. Then in my mind, I will say, how can I be of help to push you to that place? The best way I can put it is, you know, the space shuttle?
Yes.
Yeah. The space shuttle has the solid rocket boosters.
Yeah.
You know that bit that takes the rockets for 2.5 minutes?
Yeah.
To escape gravity.
Yeah.
And after that, they detach. And the space shuttle itself will not go into space on its own wings, right, on its own thrust. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Anytime I look at that, I keep seeing myself as that launch booster, that rocket booster. Yeah. So if I hear you, I want to know, how can I be of help to you to take you off your limits? Mm-hmm. To the point whereby you can now start, at least on your own steam. Yeah. Then suddenly I pull back and go to the next clients that comes my way. Right. That life sends my way. Wow. So that's how I see and that's what gives me the kick. Wow. Really, that's what gives me the kick. And that's why I do what I do. I do what I do because it's just, that's what makes me feel fulfilled. When you want to do something, you understand what I'm saying? You have a vision, you have a plan, you have a passion. You understand what I'm saying? And mistakenly it gets to my ears. My head will be thinking, what can I do? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to do this? I need to do this. Despite you don't tell me, I just do it and for you. Push you. Whether you're complaining or not, it's your business. But when you get to that point, you can say, oh, thank God I'm here. Right. So that's me.
Thank you so much. I'm giving you a big hand clap for that. Thank you. Now we do have 2 other people on the call who I believe they've been here. I just want to, that's Manya and Jonas. Jonas is actually from Iran. He's one of the artists in the show. He's in both shows, I believe. And I'm going to ask him to unmute yourselves just to see if there are any questions. Let's see if I can, so everybody can see each other. Okay. Jonas, are you there?
No, say he dropped a message. Sorry, I'm not in situation to. He will not be able to talk right now.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Manya, maybe Manya, and if not, then we can finish up.
Okay.
I think she says, she can hear. Jonas can hear us. Okay, but Manya, she took herself off of mute. Manya, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Hi, Manya. Do you have any questions for Dr. Oboh? Or any comments you want to make? You were so kind to be on the call.
Thank you for the privilege. I just wanted to ask one question, and that will be it. I'm really impressed with the questions you throw and the answers being given. That's very impressive and that's very teachable. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I just want to ask, I became so interested with all what he has said. My question is this: how does he manage to go about everything? I became so interested when you throw question on managing the family. So I just wanted to know how he goes about the family, the physical life, and the spiritual aspect of his life, and then still get back to attend to people's needs, and then, somebody can learn, somebody can have idea of how to reoccupy or to rebrand his or her own life. So how do you go about your own personal, after the family, you have spiritual activities to attend to, you have to take care of almost all the countries involved, and then you still come back to your personal self?
Oh, but thanks very much for that. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
For that. I would say it is not, first of all, it can only be because, first of all, I'm a Christian and I have the Holy Spirit in me that strengthens me. So there's grace for that, one. Number two, the Bible says that, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord.
I know that.
All those things, these things are not possible without having a support in the form of my wife, because she's really the one that showed us the whole thing. Like, if you listen from what I said, I'm more of the one that will go out there and just then she will wait for me to come and pick up all the pieces and rearrange it properly. It becomes beautiful. So the truth is that what you really see is what she is really doing behind the scene. So it manifests as beautiful after I've done more of the damage everywhere, and all that.
that is to say, we still have the perfect woman.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, she is.
Congratulations.
So basically, that's to me, that's what I've learned, because you have somebody who will tell you, okay, go, don't worry, I've got your back, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's very helpful compared to, like, you have everything and you go back and the person say, I can't be bothered about what you're doing, just give me the money. Yeah. So that means your passion level goes this way. Yeah. But if you now have somebody who can say, you know what, don't worry, I got your back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if you bring, there's sometimes I bring some very weird ideas and she will wonder, did you really grow up or you missed your childhood? You bring this kind of idea. but still, you will say, anyway, let's see how it goes. I'll support you anyway. Yeah. If you get what I mean? So when you have that at your background, then it's, you have no, you'll be able to cope. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not the perfectionist kind of person. I could, if you have 1 to 10, I could do 1, 3, 5, 9, but at least have a direction. And do the other ones and make it nice and say it this way, say it there. Okay, fine, thank you very much. And I have to go and say it that way, and it looks nice.
Okay. I think I just got the answer to the question. Just like you have explained. That is to say, the strength of a man is the woman.
Oh yeah, sure.
Is the woman. Is the woman. So
somebody said is it true? I think so.
Very good.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Caroline.
Oh, you're welcome, Manya. And I got a question in the chat box from Yones. He says, can I ask how artists help in activities like you do? What can do as artists to support or have a positive role?
Well, there's a lot we can do in terms of like the area of the mental well-being part of it and supporting them. And with this era of social media, you understand what I'm saying? So we could, like, for example, you see Dr. Unit now is able to help us, do training. Despite she's in the US, but she's organizing training for young people, in Nigeria. We have, women who are doing stuff around arts and design, stuff like that in Ghana, for example. So that could be a good place that they could support with their, skills and also, like showcasing what they're doing. For example, now, if we have some stuff they've done, they could actually see a way to showcase them, things like that, and they can mentor them. That's one. In Rwanda too, the school we work with, they do things around arts. So we can use the same Zoom thing to support what they do, and these are some of the practical things So that brings me around the capacity development of the people. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Very good. All right.
Sorry. Just one more question.
Thank you very much.
Just one more question. I want to actually understand, because based on what you have explained about precious genes, and I've got to realize that your heart is centered in African countries, which is where you're trying to see how we can cover up. So what about the remote villages that are still in need of helping hands, for this kind of organization to reach them? Because when you look at back in Africa, you see that there are a lot of women that are still hanging around looking for how to come up, and they don't really have a help. And when you come across those women and girls, you like pity them. And apart from these ways of farming, trying to see how we can raise skills acquisitions and other things, are there other things that we can do, like school, to like educate them, not just the training on farming and then handwork of a thing? I'm talking of educational aspect of it now, like the Kenya, the Rwanda, the Ghana sites in Africa that you're trying to work up to see how they can become useful to themselves and to the community at large. What about the educational part of it when you look at it? So that's where I'm trying to ask if we can do something about it. As technology is coming up, the world is changing. There are a lot of things that are coming up that they don't just need that to survive on their, they need education. They need to be educated to be able to know how to utilize those things around them. I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
To answer your question, it's already something that we are concerned about. We want to do. But the first challenge that we have is resources. That's our number one challenge, And finance is there, but if we have people who are willing to say, you know what, we can support in this. Like, for example, we are going to be signing a memorandum of understanding with a small organization in the US. They've developed an app, an educational app. You understand what I'm saying? So what we want to do right now is that while we are working with the women in Ghana as a pilot now, there are children in the villages, you understand, because they still have smartphones, so they will be using the education app, you understand what I'm saying, to be able to start engaging and training the children on simple, the normal like issues around mathematics, stuff like that they can prepare them for their exam. So we've already had that conversation around that area because, like I said, we don't have the funding like that, but at least we could see where we can leverage with people who can support us, if you get what I mean, because education is number one, is key. If we want to lift women from the level of where they are just the one at the lower level to at least where they can have capacity to do something, education is there. But the challenge they're having right now is that they don't have access to that education. So we can also augment, like you mentioned, in terms of bringing in technology to do that, so that because some people now can sit in their homes now and do exams, international exams, or do things and get qualification. So hence we are thinking around that area. And that's one of the things right now that I'm happy about this conversation. Like, for example, our host here, Caroline, can know 1 or 2 or 3 people and all that, who we can say, okay, let's look at the education aspect of it. Because I don't know everything, you understand what I'm saying? But I don't know we don't know, but if we can collaborate, if we look at something, in all our projects we are doing, we can also look at where we can support them with education, either through apps or through technology, then we can be able to augment what we are currently doing. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's the way that I think we can go based on our constrained resources that we have.
Understood. All right. Well, I'm sure that your wife, who would have been here, but I understand that she couldn't make it today. But I hope that she's well, and please give her our love. And thank you so much for spending the time with us this afternoon.
Yes. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to you, Caroline, and also to the team, because you're doing a beautiful work to help people. You understand? Yeah. And it's making a difference in people's lives. And like what I've said earlier, the artists have a huge role to support with that time capsule to carry the information of what's going on now, so that the next generation can capture what we're doing. So it's a huge responsibility on your shoulders, but at the same time too, you're also focusing to see how we can use what we get to help other people. So you understand what I'm saying? So that makes that makes a lot of difference in people's lives. So thanks so much for the opportunity, and the trustees of Precious Gems and the team are very happy, and we want to say a big thank you. And also I want to say thank you to Dr. Unette Thomas, because she was the crochet, she was the knitter, that helps us to do things together. So I want to say a big thank you. Here's a big shout out to her. And if you have any other team, let us know. We're more than happy. I would have loved to be in Washington, D.C. to see what's going on, but the COVID and all the other stuff make us to stay here in the UK. Wow. So thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Dr. Oboh. I'm so happy you're here. And again, thank you for doing the work that you're doing. And I was so happy to hear how it actually started, what gave you the impetus to really get this done, that you have a partner who has a shared vision, and that you two together are working as a perfect team to help so many lives across the globe. So thank you. I give you a big clap. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.